we need to stop claiming that black children don't need their fathers. We need to stop saying, and we got Father's Day coming up here, and we have embarrassing stuff that goes on all over the black community, starting with black women getting Father's Day cards. Well, black women, here's the thing. When you raise a child and he grows up to be an astronaut, a basketball player, you take credit for doing it all by yourself. So is it time for you to take credit for the Negroes that are coming out to the black community right now? I'll agree with you. Most black men are sorry and ain't shit. I'm agree with you, black women, on that. I really am. Myself included. And I, just like many of the niggas like me that ain't shit, were raised without a father. You say a lot of Negroes are in jail, gay, lazy, bums. I'll agree with you on that. There's a lot of down low brothers. A lot of niggas that don't pay child support. There's a lot of men that ain't men. But what you want to acknowledge is that these boys and the rest of us are being raised by women. So again, I go back and say, you take credit for when we grow up to be quote unquote something. You did it by yourself. You won't acknowledge that Barack Obama was raised by a white woman, no black folks in sight, but you cheer him on as if he's some kind of pride of black people. You are like how I describe God. And that's how we do black women. They cannot be criticized for their role in the genocide that's happening here in America. And the question is why? For 30 years, black women were able to tell black men they ain't shit, they gay, and they went on every national television show, went in front of every national white audience telling them how black men ain't shit and there's a shortage of black men, that there are more black men in jail than in colleges. But now we had it in 2010, and before then there were guys who were saying it, but in 2010 is when I showed up, 11, when I started saying, well, if these are the people doing the job, if this is the GM of the team and they keep hiring the players, if the players suck, eventually the GM has to get the blame. Black women, you are the general managers of these little boys. These little boys who believe now that openly rapping about homosexual activities is cool. These little boys who look like any little girl you find out in the neighborhood. The black race has become an androgynous race. It has. The black race looks like the 80s. You don't know who is what. The women look like men, the men look like women, the gay women look like, I mean, you can't tell who's who. We have grown men walking around. Let me tell you something. Pants sagging is just that's a homosexual thing, and I'm not going back to what somebody told me who's in jail or something. I'm saying if I'm a grown man, I'm not going to sit around another grown man showing me his drawers every time he gets up and walks off. There's nothing straight about that. There's nothing masculine about this man walking around with his hindquarters showing to me every time he walks by. There's nothing masculine about me having to walk like a duck to keep my pants up. There's nothing masculine about me having to hold on to my pants just to keep them underneath my crack. Not over it, underneath it. But when you are raised by a hypocritical group known as black women, then that's why you have these men who are just as hypocritical and emotional. Black women, you have failed. You cannot blame the man who left you with the baby when you are the one who was the GM of the team and you hired that man. You cannot keep firing players and blaming the players for not performing when it shows that you are a poor talent evaluator. Nobody wants to hold black women's feet to the fire on this. When I do it, I am an Uncle Tom and I'm bashing. But what I would like for you to do is to deconstruct my arguments. To say, he hates mama. He gay. No, why don't you understand that nothing I say, even when I'm arguing or not, when I'm cussing or not, because when I don't cuss, you come up with a new argument. You've never just realized and openly said what he's saying is true.
Now that was Mr. Tommy Sotomayor, coming across with a message that was quite clear, not obtuse, not loud and in your face, not in any way a negative message, but a very positive message, and for the most part, a very, very true message.